Anyway, welcome back to another video, you beautiful, crazy, lovable people. And today's topic, it's about, I guess, a little bit of law in Germany, which will probably, or is actually pissing off a lot of people who ride motorcycles. Especially the ones who ride the motorcycle daily, like I do. It doesn't matter if it's winter or summer. But they're looking at passing a law here in Germany that prohibits you from driving on national holidays and on Sundays. And this mostly concerns hobby riders. Now, unfortunately, how do you distinguish every motorcyclist from who is not in a hobby? I mean, you know, just because you ride a bike doesn't mean it's a hobby. I don't ride just on Sundays. I ride daily. So I really do not understand how this can be a legally passed law. Because I do have a right to move about the way as I please. And my preferred method is a motorcycle. So passing a law that restricts me to having to drive a car, which I do not own and quite frankly can't even afford, because it's just too expensive. The insurance alone for a motorcycle is 100 euros for the entire year, whereas the insurance for a car, you're looking at maybe $2,000 for the entire year. And that's not to say that if you have a little teeny tiny bump or an accident, it automatically your insurance gets raised. So how this is supposed to be helping or supposed to be good for people who don't want to have motorcycles racing around their house or them being too loud. I mean, this is basically what it's about. It's motorcycles being too loud. Well, no, sure, I like a good sounding bike like everyone else, but, and this is a big but, I don't think it gives the government the legal right to tell me that I cannot ride my bike legally on any street whatsoever in Germany on a Sunday or on a national holiday. So somebody has to literally explain to me how this can be considered to be legal. The government telling me what I can or cannot do. That's not democracy. That's a dictatorship. You know, I mean, riding a bike, it's not doing drugs. I mean, sure, you have a couple idiots who think, you know, they're not going to die or get hurt and they can break the law as they please, overtake where they shouldn't overtake. I mean, I've been overtaken and I ride a motorcycle. You know? And I don't see how this should be legal. I should have a legal right. This guy's definitely speeding. I should have the legal right to drive whatever vehicle I choose on whatever day I choose. You know, I mean, if people are going to complain about the noise level for motorcycles, well, then pass a law that starting 2020, all motorcycles must have a certain decibel range that they cannot that's limited, that they cannot go over, I don't know, 90 decibels. I mean, you can't expect people to not ride their bikes. I mean, that's not correct. And this really does bother me some. Well, guys, it's really warm, but it really does bother me. And another thing is, a certain road that I like riding, actually, they've now come up with the idea that it would be smart to have 2 separate speed limits. One speed limit being for motorcycles, and one speed limit being for cars. The speed limit for motorcycles now has been reduced by 40%, which if you're going 100 and it's been reduced by 40%, it means you're driving 60 on a motorcycle. 60, but the car behind you is allowed to go 100. The car behind you is probably on their smartphone, which is also not legal. And now you can literally be considered to await your own death while driving in traffic because someone's decided that this would be a smart law. That it doesn't help. I'm actually more for that more police are on the roads, that motorcyclists stop being stupid, and if there's, you're not allowed to overtake, then don't overtake. That's simple. I mean, if the car in front of you is driving, I don't know, 60, for example, then, there's probably a reason for that. Maybe the person doesn't know the roads. But still, 60 is more than fast enough to have fun on your bike. I mean, sure, I don't like having cars in front of me, but I don't go around racing trying to overtake them in dangerous turns or corners. And that's stupid. That sign right there, I don't know if you saw it, just means I'm not allowed to overtake. So if I'm driving a speed limit, it doesn't really matter if I'm a car, a motorcycle, or a dune buggy, whatever. It does not give me the right to overtake. Just obey that law, and then maybe, you'll have less traffic accidents. So instead of doing that, enforce the laws that are already there, which the police is not doing, which the government is not doing, because the government would actually have to pay the police officer, which they do not apparently have, which is ridiculous. Why do you have traffic police if the traffic police doesn't do anything? And I don't understand that. How can that be my fault? I'm not the one breaking the law. I mean, what if, you're like me and you're the only one who's driving on a daily basis a motorcycle, minus maybe if it snows or whatever. I mean, sure, there's public transportation here in Germany. It's pretty good. Can't complain about it, but I don't want to ride around in it. I have my own vehicle. This is my vehicle of choice. It has 2 wheels. It's called a motorcycle, and that's how I get around. That's how I get to work. That's how I visit my friends. That's how I go to school. That's how I go shopping. I mean, if you want to spend that much time and money for a car and insurance and taxes and whatnot, go ahead. That's your thing. That's your choice. If you think motorcycle driving is dangerous, then that's your choice. If you think that motorcyclists are crazy nutters, that's your opinion. On the other hand, I'm a motorcyclist. I try not to speed. I try not to go ahead and get myself into trouble. I try to pay attention to the rules and laws and regulations that are there in order to protect the people who are on the roads. I mean, sure, I have gone faster than was allowed because, I didn't pay attention to what I was doing or, got distracted somehow. But that does not give you automatically the legal right, in my opinion, as a government, to tell me that I cannot ride my motorcycle on a Sunday or on a holiday. I mean, I'm speechless. I have no idea. So if this law gets passed, I really have no idea what to say, other than maybe I should leave this country because this is utter crap. What kind of person came up with this idea that it'd be safer and nicer and better and there'll be less noise pollution and that's something you shouldn't do? For example, overtaking where you shouldn't overtake. it's just something you know, I mean, oh man, I'm really lost for words. I'm speechless. I have no idea how it is fair that there are roads that I cannot drive as fast as legally allowed in a car. There are roads where I'm legally not allowed to drive down because I own a motorcycle. There are roads, you know, that kind of thing pisses me off. Why not just enforce the laws you have? If they were properly enforced, you wouldn't have this anymore. Now that some motorcyclists are stupid idiots and morons and do dumb things, I'm aware of this. It's not new. You know, I have friends who are that stupid, but I don't go around being as stupid. So somebody needs to please tell me how this makes sense, because I find this really an infringement of my rights, of my freedom as of who I am. And I am a motorcyclist. I'm a biker, if you want. I am a hooligan, whatever you want to call it. But I don't see that it should be a legal thing to tell me that I cannot ride my motorcycle on a Sunday or any given holiday. And speaking of which, Germany has the most holidays in all of Europe. There are so many holidays, I'd have to actually get a tax reduction. Yeah, so basically, oh man guys, it's really warm out. But basically, I mean, then I need to get my money back. Because I pay my taxes for riding my bike on the road. I have legal rights to that. And I mean, I'm not paying a shit ton in taxes for being able to ride my motorcycle on the street. But quite honestly, I want my money back. For all those days that I'm not allowed to ride a motorcycle on the street, I want to get cashed out. I want to have money back. Because if they set that, I mean, come on. If they set this through, you know, and I don't own a car, it means I have to invest my money in something else. Probably public transportation. But unfortunately, public transportation only allows you now in Germany to buy a ticket. Stay where you are, Grandpa. To buy a ticket that's good for a month. You can't buy a ticket that's just good for a day. No, you have to pay for the whole month. And I don't want that. And second of all, riding around on a motorcycle, it's just better than a car. You know, it's, what is this guy walking around in his boxers? Anyway, it's just, you know, it's my freedom. This is how I feel free. This is how you know, how I am who I am. That, you know, riding on a bike, that's my lifestyle. That's my thing. You know, everyone else has a different thing. Everyone else can, I don't know, drive a bus, ride a bicycle, play pool, get drunk on the side of the road, whatever. But to restrict my legal rights on riding a motorcycle on any given day is just, it's cruel, it's unfair, and it should not be legal. It shouldn't even be talked about making a law like this. I am not a truck driver, and truck drivers in Germany are on holidays and Sundays are not allowed to drive on German roads. Which, to tell you the truth, I find okay. I find 100% okay, because on the Autobahn, these trucks are only allowed to go 80k an hour. 80k. Which then causes naturally a huge traffic jam, and, you know, slows down one lane and you have all the cars in one other lane. So I mean, what do you guys think on this? I mean, should motorcyclists be banned just because one or two bikes are really loud on the street? I don't get that. That just makes no sense. Just make it illegal to have loud exhausts. Ban Harley Davidson from selling exhausts that are louder. It's that easy. You know, I mean, just stick with the stock exhaust you have on your bike. I mean, you can, you know, if you don't like it, don't buy that bike. Or, you know, then you're just going to have to invest money and go ride your bike on a racetrack. Which is awkwardly really hard to do here in Germany because the state that I'm living in doesn't have any racetracks. And there's very few in Germany actually, which allow motorcyclists on the track. So the Nuremberg Ring being one wonderful racetrack, but to tell you the truth, I don't want to go drive on that because if I crash, I have to pay. You know, I mean, if I hit the railing, I have to pay. If I damage their lawn, I have to pay. If I hit the gravel pit, I have to pay. So, you know, that's the reason I don't usually ride a motorcycle on the racetrack. It's too expensive at the end of the day. But I do not understand why you cannot just ride normal. Just drive normal. I'm not racing, I'm still moving forwards. I don't have to drive like an imbecile and do as I please on the road just because I have two wheels. You know, it pisses me off. I mean, so honestly, there's going to be a couple of protests probably here in Germany about this, but I don't know. I have the horrible feeling that they're probably going to pass some kind of regulation restricting my driving abilities, basically, to, or I don't know, transportation abilities, to having to take on public holidays, having to go out now and buy a car just to drive on Sundays or holidays, which is ridiculous because sometimes Germany has like 3 holidays all in 1 week. So how do you want me to get around if that's now, you know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? That's 4 days where I won't be able to drive if that's a holiday. That's ridiculous. What if I have to work on that day and, you know, don't have a car, or my car's in the shop, or my car broke? I mean, public transportation then only drives even weirder. Once again, you have to go then and leave an hour earlier and hope that you get to your appointment or place of work, because half the time either the bus doesn't show up, the train isn't on time, the train doesn't show up, the next train doesn't show up. So, I mean, you're kind of stuck on relying on what you have, and this is what I choose to ride around on. Not to mention, I don't pollute as much as a car does. I get about 300 kilometers on 15 liters of gasoline. 300 kilometers on 15 liters of gasoline. It might actually be a little bit less, might be 12. But still, I think maybe you need to pass a law to make more people ride motorcycles. Or if you're going to do this, then I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna go on a limb, that for all the holidays that motorcycles aren't allowed to drive on the road and Sundays, cars aren't allowed to drive on those days either. Just gonna do it. Just gonna throw it out there. Or then during the week, where everyone wants to ride around in a car, well, you know, I don't care, too bad. Let's say Mondays and Fridays, you are not allowed to drive in a car, because I was not allowed to drive on a Sunday and or that holiday. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. It's ridiculous. It's one of the dumbest laws I have ever heard. I mean, you know, I'm not trying to steal apples. I'm not trying to shoot anyone. Hello, oh, we've had an accident. You know, I mean, and then the police is also allowed to probably ride around on a Saturday and a Sunday, but I'm not. So no, Saturday and a Sunday. Oh, I'm getting confused my days with a holiday or Sunday. So, you know, how is that fair again? Just because he's working for the government, does that mean now I have to join the police so I can ride on a holiday? Wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, I'd get paid for it. I mean, you know. But it makes no sense, people. Laws like this make no sense. I mean, if you want to have a quiet time, I understand. Okay, I get it. You don't want to live next to a noisy road where motorcycles are racing by every 5 seconds. I totally agree. You know, that could be annoying. But then change the law so that maybe the motorcyclists who have bikes don't go around tuning them with the exhaust first thing they do. I mean, most people, and I say most people being fairly considerate, buy themselves a brand new bike, Ducati, or a Honda VFR, Honda CBR, Kawasaki, whatever. And the first thing they do after spending 30,000 euros, after buying their brand new bike, is rip out the exhaust system to put on a louder exhaust system, which gives you more power. Where in the world are you going to use all that horsepower on congested roads here in Germany? There's nowhere. So whether you have that extra kick of boost or whatever, it's just not worth it. You are not on a racetrack. You are on a public road. A public road, people. I mean, you know, what's the point? What's the point of having 5 more horsepower? It's ridiculous. 5 more horsepower won't make a difference on a daily basis of riding on public roads. You know, it's totally ridiculous. Alright guys, I gotta do some other stuff still. So thanks for listening to my rant about public nuisance and crappy lawgivers who think they are a democratic society but aren't. Anyway, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about the law being passed like this. What if a law like this was passed over where you guys live? Anyway, I'm out, and I'll see you around.